Welcome back to Beyond the Rings, Paris 24 Outreach, 30 Stories in 30 Days. My name's Jeff Wells. I have the great privilege of being the founder of Beyond the Rings Olympic Ministry and the joy of sharing with you some of the exciting things that happened here in our Paris 24 Outreach this summer. Today, I want to share a little bit more about our tools that we use while we're on the ground at the Olympics. The Olympics is a great time for gospel conversations because it is the largest gathering, peacetime gathering of the most people from around the world. So it's the most diverse single setting event. And Summer Olympics happen every 4 years, Winter Olympics happen every 4 years, but they alternate every 2 years. So while we just wrapped up Paris 2024, the next Olympics on the calendar are the Winter Games that are scheduled to take place in February 2026 in Italy, Milan, and Cortina. It's Milan Cortina 2026 is the official title of the next Olympics, which are Winter Games. And so again, evangelical churches have been very intentional for many, many years now to make the most of the Olympic season. Only 17 days between the opening and closing ceremony. A few events will take place prior to the opening ceremony, and then nothing takes place after the closing ceremony. And so many churches and ministries will seek to be prepared and make the most of the Olympic season. And so I know churches that will do soccer clinics, they'll have children's ministries, they'll do youth nights, they'll have sports related focused activities. Um, they may invite athletes to come and share their testimonies. It's not uncommon for choirs and musicians to come and do special concerts, all in an effort to use the platform or the occasion, if you will, to use the occasion of the Olympics to have gospel conversations, to present the gospel, to point people to Christ. And so the tool that I've been most familiar with and have used since my involvement in the Olympics, going back to the summer of 2000 in Sydney, Australia, is pen trading. So if you're watching on video on the screen, you'll see above my head is the Beyond the Rings Paris 24 gospel pen, and it's attached to a business card. And you only see part of the business card because it's attached to it. And so, kind of, this is how we would present the pen and card to a person if we weren't just going through the gospel shown on the pen. And so, we would attach it to the pen, and it would look like that. That way, they can see there's something behind it. And of course, the pen speaks for itself. We can use the pen, whether we have a card or not, to verbally communicate the gospel using the three circles about how the world was broken because of sin, but God didn't leave us in his brokenness. He's entered our broken world, paying the price for our sin so he could restore us back to God, the final circle, in his perfect design, and back in relationship with God for the remainder of this life and for eternity. That's the simple, uber quick version of the three circle gospel presentation. But on the left, you will see the card that I designed and had printed up without the pen attached. And since God gave me this name, Beyond the Rings, and especially in preparing for Paris, he gave me this question: what's beyond the rings? It's kind of the attention grabber for the person that we're communicating with, whether we're talking to them, whether they're reading it. We had it on the back of our shirts. We wanted people to wrestle with what's beyond the rings. And oftentimes in our gospel conversations, we would start with, the Olympics are great. It's so exciting to be here. Love it. And it is. All that is absolutely true. Thoroughly enjoyed being in Paris for 20 days. But eventually, Paris 2024 is going to come to an end. Then what? Even for the athlete, if they've achieved the highest metal, gold, even numerous times. It'll be over. Then what? What's beyond the rings? Well, there's a lot more going on than just the athletic company. Cultures intermingle, joining different cities around the world, meeting incredible people, having awesome experiences. There's more going on. God is always at work. God is always present. He's always at work. And we want to tell people what's beyond the rings is God and his love for you. And he demonstrated that through it. So the front of the card has that question. There's the Beyond the Rings logo. Then I had my cards printed up with my name on them and all my information. Brandon, Destiny, Tony, the ground team members, all put labels on their cards with their names, email addresses. So you see there my email address, jeff@beyondtherings.net, my cell phone number, and our Instagram address, I guess is what they would call it. Username, I don't know, at Beyond the Rings Ministry is our Instagram address. So that's the front of the card. So people would know my name. They would have my contact information. If they wanted to contact me while I was there, they could text me, they could email me. And for years to come, as long as they came across this card, they could reach out to me. Then on the inside, the one there, this one, if you're watching this, we have the gospel presentation using the three circles spelled out. First circle equals brokenness. Second circle equals God's perfect design. Third circle equals Jesus. And just a few words like under the first circle, brokenness. How did the world become so broken? The answer is sin. And a couple of Bible verse references there. Romans 3:23, Romans 6:23. Second circle is God's perfect design. And we wrote this, the brokenness we experience personally and in our world is not the way God designed it to be. With the reference to Genesis 1:31, where after God had created Adam and Eve, he looked at his creation and saw that it wasn't just good, as he had said after everything else said it was very good. So the question is, how did we get to brokenness if that wasn't God's perfect design? Well, that's the third sin. And then the third circle is Jesus. Jesus, who is God, loved you and left heaven to enter our broken world, the penalty for our sin, so that we could be restored to a personal relationship with him um, and experience life and eternity the way he designed it with him. And the Bible verses, Romans 5:8 and 1 Corinthians 15:3-4. And they're just the references because there's not enough room to type out the whole verses. And then there's this question: what do I have to do to live in God's perfect design? 1, turn from doing things my way, repent of my sin, and 2, follow Jesus. And that 2-step process is what we call repenting and following Jesus, repenting and submitting to Jesus. Then, once we've done that, once we've committed to following Christ, we've asked him to forgive us of our sin based on what he did on the cross and committing our lives to following him the rest of our lives. Then we're to grow. We're just like as we follow Jesus, we grow to act more like him, to model him, follow his lead. Then we go back into the brokenness of the world and tell them how they too can experience God's perfect design through faith in Jesus. And I love this question. I saw this in a video of another pastor's name, Ray Vaughn, who would conclude his presentation this way. Everyone in the world is in one of two places: brokenness or God's perfect design. Which place are you? And then you see there at the very, very bottom, I barely squeezed it on there, but we wrote, if in brokenness, what is keeping you from turning and following Jesus right now? And so the whole inside of the card is intended to be a reminder of the gospel encounter that we had. Hopefully, we were able to go through it entirely verbally with them. And it's a reminder of what we shared, whether they didn't make a decision or they um, made a decision and wanted to be reminded of the decision they made or the commitment they've made. They've begun following Jesus, or they wanted to share with somebody else, there for them as a resource. The back of the card is the question again: what's beyond the rings? And a QR code. And the QR code launches a website. It goes to our beyondtherings.world website where you go to a video, and it's me standing at the Olympic rings here in St. Louis going through the whole gospel presentation again, verbally. Um, so just another way of presenting the gospel reminder for them. And then, and the instructions, they can scan the QR code or they can visit the website, beyondtherings.world, to find out more. Because not only do you have that gospel presentation of the three circles at beyondtherings.world, we also have an initial study that Got Questions Ministry produced on Now That You're a New Follower of Christ. And the prayer and intention is to build up that database so that there are options for people to study God's word as a new believer. Maybe they're a skeptic and they're not yet believers. They have some questions they want answers. So there's going to be some more apologetic type resources available for them that I'm hoping to record, as well as a link to others who are great in that area, all in the effort of helping people to become followers of Christ, with the intention that if we are connected with them, if we've got an email address, if we've got a phone number, if we've got an Instagram or a Facebook page, we want people who are genuinely interested in following Christ to find a local Bible-believing church where they can plug in and be discipled and grow in community in their following of Christ. And so that's the tool that we used a lot in Paris. And again, thank you, my friend Amy, who made a French translation version for us. So we had it available in English and French. So as we wrap up today's short story, let me remind you again about the Paris 24 Outreach Celebration coming up on Sunday, September 29th at 3 p.m. Physically, we'll be at Concord Church on Tesson Ferry, South St. Louis County. We'll be serving desserts and drinks. We're working on trying to streamline that, live stream that. I'll let you know once we get that set up, and if we get that set up, so stay tuned. But we hope if you're in the area, you can come and join us. We're not only going to celebrate Paris with great stories, pictures, and videos, we're also going to launch the Italy 26 Winter Olympic Outreach, and we'll be taking a love offering for that next outreach. So thanks again for tuning in today for Beyond the Rings, Paris 24 Outreach 30 and 30. We'll see you next time.